And this is the global forecast for August 2016. I've both been looking forward to doing this video and dreading doing this video all year. And now we're here. So what's going on? Why the anticipation and the trepidation? Well, for the first time in years, it's not Uranus, Pluto. Uranus, Neptune and Pluto are continuing in their signs, ongoing. It's Saturn. Saturn is standing still in August and starting to move forward again. It's standing still at 9 3/4 degrees of Sagittarius, just as Neptune enters backwards into 10 degrees of Pisces. For Saturn, Neptune square is now at its strongest. It's been around a year, and by mid-September it's on its way out, and by the end of October it's gone. Saturn in Sagittarius is telling us about truth. It's about living life according to our own beliefs and philosophies. Neptune in Pisces is telling us, yeah, but we've got to keep compassion and spirituality, but not at the cost of dissolving our own boundaries. The square from Saturn to Neptune, every time Saturn tries to set something up and says, this is the truth, this is a reality, Neptune dissolves it. And every time that Neptune tries to get too spiritual or fluffy or bring some type of compassion into the world, Saturn will come along with its boundaries and go, no, we can't do that, we can't afford it, or it doesn't work with our political system or our religion. The Saturn-Neptune square is about the breakdown of organised systems of dogma, theology, belief and religion, and the emergence of new things into the world. And this is the background of what's going on in August. It's compounded by the fact that throughout August, Mercury and Venus are in the sign of Virgo with Jupiter, and at the end of August, all three of them are conjunct at the very end of Virgo. Mercury will be going retrograde in September in Virgo. But over the last week of August, Mercury, Venus and Jupiter will all be within 1 or 2 degrees of each other. It's a hell of a conjunction. It should be quite spectacular in the night sky immediately after sunset to the west, wherever you are in the world. It's worse because Mars is about to move into Sagittarius. Now, normally Mars loves being in Sagittarius, and I see no reason to change that idea. But Mars in Sag, it's been there before this year, before retrograding back into Scorpio. It's now coming in. It's going to cover a lot of ground in a short space of time. And the more you get into August, the more intense it's going to get. As we get towards the last 10 days of August, so Mars bears down in square to Neptune and conjunction to Saturn. And Mars conjunct Saturn, it's often considered a warlike and aggressive aspect. It's not, but it's considered as such. With Mars conjunct Saturn in Sagittarius, there does seem to be some type of surgicalness, some type of incisiveness, and it's to do with theology and religion. It's not explosive or warlike as in battlefield or lots of people shooting each other, but it is very scary. And the fact that it's square Neptune does point to some type of issue developing in the world in the last 10 days of August around incision, around specific action, something surgical, but because Neptune's evolved, also have to look at the possibility of toxins, virals, poisons, gas. And as we get to the very end of the month, there is a near total eclipse of the Sun on the 1st of September. Sun and Moon opposite Neptune, all three of them square to both Mars and Saturn, and this is not weak, this is strong. When you consider that this T-square, Mars-Saturn square Neptune, Mars-Saturn square the Sun and Moon opposite Neptune at the same time as an eclipse, is also happening at the same time as Mercury, Venus and Jupiter conjunct at the very end of Virgo, just on the equinox point. Concentration here is immense. And I've not seen anything like this for a few years now, quite a few years. It's easily the most critical point so far, and probably of the whole of this year. And that's why for a number of the sun signs I'm saying that 24th August is the month that changes everything. And I suspect the world is at risk. And the fact that we're going straight into a Mercury retrograde after the last 10 days of this month tells me that we're then going to be heading into 3 weeks of recovery, reassessing and reevaluating what's coming up. I don't want to dream it in, and I'm taking a bit of a chance by sticking my neck out. But I do suspect that something very big is coming up planet-wide in the last 10 days of this month, probably the last week of this month, and I can't see it as actually being revelatory and absolutely wonderful, much as I'd like it to be. So I guess my advice from an astrological perspective is, bearing in mind that something big is coming, and I got premonitions about this. It's not particularly nice. I'm going to be doing my very best, and I suggest you all do your very best not to buy into hype and spin over what's coming up, to keep things in perspective, to not allow things to go to extremes, either by undercutting or by overstretching, and to hold the centre ground and be solid and stable for those that can't do it for themselves. The more you reach out for people this month, the more they'll be grateful in the future. We're going to need to pull together at the end of this month and not let the spin merchants and the media create hype and spin out of what is already a difficult situation. If the Earth were my client and all its people just one being, and they were saying to me, what's the best thing we can do this month? It's not believe all the hype and spin, not buy into the chaos, and just say, have a centred, grounded, down to earth, and stay in touch with the reality. Let's see where we stand, shall we? By equinox, by the end of September. By then, we'll have a much clearer perspective on what's been going on and what's coming up. But as far as August 2016 goes, Planet Earth, have a balanced month.